Cucurella, 3 Bossas for you. Bossa, Bossa, Bossa. You have spoken well. You have really, really spoken the mind of all Chelsea fans. And every football fan out there literally have been saying this in different tones, in different versions, but the same messaging. And finally, I'm so glad that the Chelsea players are finally speaking out about how poorly this club is being run, about how the decisions that they are making, it's head scratching. You are beginning to wonder, who are the people that they put in charge of this club? Who are the people running this day-to-day club? Because if the players, who their number one job is supposed to be on the field, are already thinking like this, how are they supposed to perform? When they see mistakes on the field by some of the young players, too many young players that are bringing in, the lack of development, lack of pathway. Before I get too far, for those of you who are not aware, Marc Cucurella was speaking to The Athletic about just the general status of the club, and I think they were asking him questions about whether or not he wants to leave the club. If a club like Barcelona comes calling, what would happen? And he basically said that, look, if by a club like Barcelona comes calling, I have to discuss with my family. I have to definitely see what I would definitely have to explore the opportunity. In a nutshell, that's kind of what he was saying. I believe in with the interview that went on, they actually dug a little bit deeper and they started talking about the current state of the club, and he started just dropping some very, very earth-shaking conversations that you typically won't get from a general reporter or from a general interview, except these players are actually frustrated, because normally things like these, players just kind of keep it in-house. They keep it within the squad. They keep it with the owners if they have good relationship with the owners or the board members, and they kind of talk about this. But the fact that you see players you see some of the I won't call them prolific, but some of the senior players kind of they're making this rhetoric, they're making this statement about how the club is being run. It shows that they are clearly frustrated. It shows that they're not being heard. And to make matters worse, apparently Reece James commented on the post that Cucurella had with the Athletic report, that basically saying, well said, like nothing was, you didn't leave any crumbs on the table. You covered all the basics. And I'll go into what he said, and we'll kind of dissect what he said, and basically how some of the fans are feeling, kind of reacting to that. Since there is no actual Premier League games this weekend, obviously that's why you didn't see any posts. There things are happening in the world of football. People are talking, and I want to kind of preface this with the fact that this didn't even just start with Cucurella. This already started with Enzo Fernandez after the 3-0 defeat, I believe, Everton. Is it Everton or PSG? One of the two. They were basically asking him about the future of the club, like, is it going to stay? And he didn't provide any confidence. Any general player would say, look, I'm contracted to Chelsea. I'm going to stay here till my contract expires, and kind of shut that down. But Enzo Fernandez, being the kind of person he is, just fed into the flames of the rumor, and he doubled down on it even after, because a lot of these players are international breaks. They are being interviewed by multiple reporters, and he doubled down about, like, hey, what city would you like to live in? He's like, he talked about living in Madrid, about how warm it is, and how it would be a place that his family would love to move to. He just, like, this man is out here doing a LinkedIn like, I'm open. You know, when you're on LinkedIn and you say open for hire, open for recruitment. Literally, that's what Enzo Fernandez is doing while still playing as a Chelsea player, which I don't agree with. I have hesitations with that, but to be honest, it takes a bold move such as that for players that follow after, such as Cucurella, kind of having an interview with the Athletic. And let me go right into it before I go on a tangent. This is basically what Cucurella says, and this is I'm reading this from Fabrizio's post. These are basically strong quotes on the Chelsea project and Enzo Maresca, and then the club strategy. And Cucurella says, the moment Maresca left, it had a big impact on us. These are decisions that were taken by the club. If you ask me, I would not have made this decision. To make a change like that, the best thing would be to wait until the end of the season, Marc Cucurella told the Athletic. Let's stop there. What he said is a no-brainer. If you were tired and you wanted to make a coach change, you know how Maresca's relationship with this team was. This is not a relationship that was just developed over just one season. They've had one full season. They have understood what Maresca needs from them, tactic-wise and everything. But you decided to pull the rug under the team especially when they were going through a very, very bad and slumpy period. Obviously, they were going through a very bad form, and I believe that if Enzo Maresca was still in charge, and I mentioned this in my previous post, if Enzo Maresca was still in charge, they would have picked up form. Definitely, the bad form run of form would not have continued. We would also have situations where we also have situations where some of the big games that Enzo Maresca typically is up and ready for, like the PSG game, we're not gonna lose that. I guarantee we're not gonna lose that. Even the Arsenal game, all the 3 or 2 Arsenal games that we played, I do not believe that we're going to lose in such manner, in such a very cowardly way. I think Enzo Maresca is more tactically suited to play more big games than Liam Rosenior is. Liam Rosenior is still learning. Rosenior has not even understood what English football is. I think Liam Rosenior needs to go to the championship to learn how to coach again, because you try to manage all City, you got fired around, then they migrated you to exported you to France, and then you are coaching in Farmers League. You cannot even challenge PSG, and you are coming here. You think that you can manage a big 6 club such as Chelsea, and then just change things willy nilly, and things will be okay. Let me not go right into that, because I feel like that's a tangent that I can go into and I can speak forever about this. That quote that Marc Cucurella that I just read expresses the lack of vision from the team, or from the leadership, not even the team, the leadership, the board members, the recruitment team, the sporting directors, which I continue to clamor on, is that the sporting directors, they need to go. They cannot be handed another transfer season. They have had about 4 to 5 transfer windows. What am I saying? Probably six transfer windows, and they have not given us the quality players that we think need, the quality players that can actually challenge for major competitions. So they've not really given us any of that. Rather, they've given us is kids that players that they can't even scratch up to the surface of playing with Chelsea. Like, how are we in the situation where we are managing the lap? We don't have a second striker. The lap is not a striker to me. Anytime the lap comes up, I say it every time, the game is done. The game is finished. He has only scored 1 Premier League goal in how many matches? This is ridiculous. And this is a talent ID that this sporting directors said that this would be he was supposed to be the number 9. No, let people not get it twisted. Joao Pedro was supposed to be sort of a utility player. Now, the utility player is not the number 9 that we depend on. If he does not score, we are screwed. So they bought a number 9 from a relegation team to come and start for Chelsea. Are you people, are this sporting director, are they drinking something? Let me not even get into it. Let's continue on Marc Cucurella's comments. One thing that he mentioned, he said, I understand this is part of the club's policy and they want to take this direction, signing young players and looking into the future. But for all of us who are still here and want to win big things, sporting directors, I hope you can see that big things, meaning major competitions, major trophies, big things, moments like PSG game make you feel discouraged. We need. God help me comport myself in this video. It's clear. It's clear. And in my PSG, when I reviewed or reacted to the PSG game, I just expressed just the lack of actual quality that can actually come off the bench. Not even start. Let's say the starting 11. Maybe we have decent. Coming off of the bench, we lacked quality. We lacked quality. We are bringing in Garnacho for Pedro Neto. We are bringing in Sa. Let's continue. He was one that started that game. The experienced centre back that they bought, that they said is good enough, would not start ahead of a 19-year-old. I'm going to leave that for you. Football fans, rival fans, Chelsea fans, I want you to deep that. There is a 26, 27-year-old experienced defender that is sitting on the bench while a 19-year-old is starting ahead of him. That is the state of the club recruitment that we have. Backwards thinking, not good. They sign players that are not good enough. Look, for example, let's not even forget, we had Badeshu that was fit for that game. Badeshu did not play a single minute in that game. At least not that I can remember, because it was so bad. And then the goalkeeper, I refuse to get triggered, because the more I'm talking about it, I'm reading all this to say that everything Marc Cucurella is saying is one thing that we have expressed in multiple different ways. I've expressed that in my match reactions. So many football fans, football analysts, football pundits have said, look, you cannot keep signing kids. if you want to sign, it's okay to sign kids. Nobody's saying you should not sign kids. Real Madrid does it. They sign young talent, but what Real Madrid does best is they surround this young talent with experienced people. Like, for example, when you sign a something Houston, what's his name? Hussein, I've forgotten his name. When you sign a Hussein, you have a Rudiger that's accompanying him. You sign a what's that Benfica left back that they signed? I can't remember his name. You have a Trent, an experienced defender, right next to him. When you have a who else is up front? When you have a I think Hendrick, even though they loaned him out, you have a Vinicius, you have a Mbappe. People that have quality, world class players, talented players, starters, guiding them. You cannot just toss these people into the limelight of the English Premier League and think that they will just watch. As great as Estavio is, Estavio cannot just come and be a starting left. He needs a full season to understand what the Premier League requires of him and then adapt. I think even from a progression standpoint, from Estavio, he's actually even doing more than we expect from him. But injuries obviously did not help him out. But he's doing more than you expect of him. But still, he still needs the time to develop. So now you got an Estavio, you have you have a James Gittins on the other side, and then you have Pedro Neto, who is not even, you can't call Pedro Neto an experienced player for Christ's sake, not a quality experienced player for my liking. So these are some of the things you have, even at least in the midfield they try, where you have a Caicedo, you have a Sancho right next to him. You have to balance this thing out. The experienced young people, yes, great. But at the end of the day, you also need to sign experienced world-class players, not just experienced players, experienced world-class players, because this is Chelsea. We're not bend down select. We don't just buy unripe fruit. We're a team that win trophies. And with the way you are the way you are going, we're not going to win anything with the way these sporting directors are going. And let me just continue to read that. I'll probably quickly read through it. So we're a good core. We have a good core of players here at Chelsea, and the foundations are here. But to fight for big trophies such as Premier League or Champions League, you need more. You need balance among players. So signing young players only might make it complicated in achieving those goals. Say Cucurella added on the project. So basically just saying, look, you can't continue to sign young players and then expect to still fight for majors. Unless you want to come out and say that we are not fighting for majors, come out and say it. Say that we are not fighting for majors, then we will know that you are the real enemy. We will know that you are the real enemy, because like I said, that Club World Cup was the biggest regret that I have in this life, because he made this club owners think that they are doing something right. He made them think that they have arrived when they have not even started. They have not started scratching the surface. Beating PSG that emphatically made it look as if we didn't need anything more. That's why when Maresca said that he needed defenders, they said, no, go figure it out. We have internal solutions. Is it not the same squad that used to beat PSG? One defender is now injured. Now we have to go and start searching for defender. That's their mindset. But if PSG had trashed us, beat us like no man's business in that final now, they will have understood that we are not settled here. We need to go and sign players. We are lacking something. So like I said, hindsight is 2020. You can always say that, I wish PSG beat us, and they will probably still be at the same situation. But there could have been a different outcome of that if PSG had won, maybe dominated us, to kind of show that the lack of quality. That is why it baffles me why they sacked Enzo Maresca, because one person made us look good. One manager made us look better than we were. You were giving this man crumbs, giving him little or nothing, and he still find a way tactically to beat the champions of Europe, one of the best clubs in the world. He found a way to beat them. And now when that said manager tells you before the season starts, he tells you that I need a defender, I need a forward. You said, come on, shut your mouth. Your mouth is smelling. You don't know what you're talking about. You are the one that know what you're talking about, right? Don't worry. Well done. Well done. Let me continue to quickly read and round up this video. And then he talked about basically the relationship with Enzo Maresca after they won the Club World Cup. Says we knew what Enzo Maresca wanted from us always. Winning a title like the Club World Cup helps you to create great relationship during the celebration. When a manager gives you that confidence and so he offers you a platform to fight for titles, you would die for him. Wow. I just pity Liam Rosenior when he goes to training. When these people come back from international break, I pity how he's going to be explaining or trying to coach them, because like it's just like you've had somebody, a coach, a mentor that has been with you for so long, bedded a different mindset, giving you a different way to think, a different way to fight for things. And then you now have this, I don't even know who you are, I don't know what you have won. That's the problem with hiring people that have not achieved anything. If a said Xabi Alonso came into Chelsea, let's just for instance, came into Chelsea after firing Enzo Maresca, he can say, look, I've won the Bundesliga, invisible, unbeaten. So there's something that I have that I can give you. And even said managers such as that one, these people have been trained, they have been drilled in one way of playing. I better go learn that said tactic and make sure that I can use that out to the end of the season. Then when preseason comes around, I cannot imbibe my own tactic. But because of the inexperience of Liam Rosenior, he wants to start making changes immediately. And hence why we were dumped out of the Champions League. Hence why we were dumped out of the Carabao Cup competition against Arsenal. Hence why some of the big games, we do not show up for them. It's logical. But we have owners, we have sporting directors that they can't use their common sense. What are they paying them? And I love this. I love that the fact that these players are speaking up. And then it's just the last piece here that he just talked about, like the instability comes from this. In a nutshell, we had a caretaker for us, then a new manager with new ideas and no time to work on them. I'm sure Liam Rosenior football ideas are good, but we don't have the time to train for them. Literally, he's saying that we don't have the time to learn new stuff. There are too many games coming back to back. Don't come and teach us new tactics. Stay with the one that is working for us. If you want to make tweaks, make minor tweaks. Don't go and change goalkeeper that who knows where he came from. Who knows where that goat called Jorgensen came from. And you say you should come and be playing from the back. What is to be back? Cucurella found a way that it suited him in the formation that Enzo Maresca created. Inverting, making some of those darting runs up front, scoring, assisting. Now you have placed him in no man's island. A lot of time he gets caught on the left side. He doesn't even know which one. Should I go and track the defender? Should I be following the one that is making an upcoming the bus crashing run? Like it's mind-boggling that these owners, the sporting directors, are being allowed to continue this poor management of such a squad. This Chelsea squad, these people have spent over 2 billion Great British pounds. 2 billion Great British pounds. And none of these players, bar probably one or two of them, can actually can enter the Arsenal starting 11. The so-called Arsenal none of them, probably bar like 2 or 3 of them, can actually enter the starting 11. And that's the people that you spend 2 billion. Arsenal spent 500, almost they're close to 1 billion. Everybody's shouting at them. But you can see that they have players. They are players. Off the bench, on the field, players that you can count on. Granted, there are some, 1 or 2 that you are like, that one I'm not sure about. But they have a good 70 to 80% of players that you can say, whoa, I'll go to war with any of these players. How many of the Chelsea players can you say you can go to war with? Don't go and thank Enzo Maresca that he turned water to wine, making these players look better than they are. You are bringing one chemistry teacher out here to come and teach what. Anyway, guys, that's my own rant about Cucurella's comments on the club's future, Enzo Maresca leaving, and basically the strategy of the club. Let me know, guys, what you think. Did he say what everybody has been saying? Is he speaking the truth? Is there some pieces that have been over-exaggerated? Let me know, guys. Chelsea fans, let me know in the comments if you agree with this, and watch out for more videos such as this. So like, subscribe, hype, follow us on all our different social media channels, and I'll catch you again next time on the next episode on the Goal Line Conversations TV. Peace out, guys.